Hi, so welcome to this video, which I hope might help to ground and calm, if indeed you do need to ground and calm. So why don't you find a comfortable seated position. I've taken Sukhasana, and just rest your hands on your thighs, closing your eyes. And just have a little wiggle around if you need to, just really feeling that you've got a nice, comfortable and supportive seat. And then take a falling out breath, so a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then just do that one more time, beginning to let go of all your cares and worries. And just take a moment just to notice what is happening for you. So notice the state of your mind, which might have trouble focusing actually on this practice because of being in a more stressful frame of mind perhaps, or feeling a complete lack of grounding, as if you're kind of floating. So noticing your body, that really helps us to ground ourselves. Noticing the weight of the body, so even from the crown of your head, just noticing where that is in space and allowing it to be touched by gravity. So just find the fullness of the back of your skull and find a little bit of weight through your chin. And then just find the roundness of your shoulders, so if you feel like your shoulders are up around your ears, just relax into them, but without pulling them down away from your ears, so retaining some of their kind of shoulderness. And then feel your hands on your legs, so feel that sensation of touch. And feel into your pelvis and just notice if you're kind of pushing up away from the earth, and whether you can rest down through the pelvis to the earth. Same with your legs, just noticing if you're pushing up away from the earth, if you're sort of gripping on for dear life through your thighs, and just relax into your thighs, into your feet. And then just breathe, so just deepening into your inhalation and consciously lengthening into your exhalation. And that can be through the nose if you can, or if you need to, through your mouth. Focusing on your breath. Breath as smooth as possible. Last 2 rounds. And then just opening your eyes. And then just bringing yourself onto all fours from here. So coming onto all fours, taking a cushion under your knees if you need to. And just taking hip circles in whichever direction feels nourishing and helpful, because actually we're going to change direction anyway, so, or you have the option to. So just taking hip circles in one direction and then in the opposite direction. Just be really aware that you are indeed circling through the hips, just feeling into your body, noticing the hands on the earth, the shin bones on the earth. And then just coming back to the starting position, and just again feeling the hands, the shins, the knees, the feet on the mat. And just having the knees probably underneath the hips and the wrist joints underneath the shoulders. And just exploring movement through the spine. So the inhalation, the top of the spine, the bottom of the spine coming up towards the ceiling. And as you breathe out, the top of the spine and the bottom of the spine coming down towards the earth. So you're breathing in, the shoulder blades rest in towards one another. And as you breathe out, tailbone goes down, top of spine goes down. Just one more like that. Inhaling, softening through the tummy. And exhaling, top of spine, bottom of spine down towards the floor. Before you inhale back to the starting position and exhaling here, just letting the shoulder blades soften on the back body. You're going to inhale the right foot up. And exhale, the right foot can come beside your right thumb. You might just need to take the right thumb off to the side. So right knee above the right ankle. Really have a sense of your left thigh bone going back in space. And this softness through the sacrum. And then you might stay here. Otherwise we might see if we can take a breath in and a breath out. And the hands going up towards the ceiling. Keep feeding the upper arm bones down into the shoulder joints. Keep a sense of collection between the base of your rib cage and your pubic bones. A little bit of weight through the pelvis. So trying not to overarch through your lower spine and stay here or tuck your left toes under. On an inhalation, the left knee going up in space without sort of pressing back. So going up and just bringing the left thigh around or the left thigh bone around a little bit. And again, giving a little bit of weight through the pelvis, really feeling into your right foot. And then taking a breath in here. And as you breathe out, the left knee going all the way back down onto the mat. The torso going down, the hands going down. And then you can take a breath in. And as you breathe out, popping your right knee, your right shin, your right foot back on the mat. Maybe just swaying gently through your pelvis. Before we do the same on the other side, so we'll take a breath in, the left foot coming up. Exhale the left foot beside your left thumb, so the left knee's on top of the left ankle. And then it might be that you stay here, or otherwise hands coming forward and then taking a breath in, the whole torso going up and the arms or the hands going up. Just keep feeding the upper arm bones down in the shoulder joints. Okay, so you're not bringing the shoulders up to the ears, you're not impinging on the neck. And just keep the lower ribs coming down towards the pubic bones. A little bit of weight through your pelvis, staying here or tucking your right toes under. And on an inhalation, the right knee coming up and just turning the right thigh bone. So the right hip bone comes forward as well, so you're not sort of distorting the pelvis. And a sense of ease. Can you find ease? A sense of grounding at least through that left foot. Okay, we'll take a breath in here, and as you breathe out, popping your right knee back down onto the mat, taking another breath in, and as you breathe out, your torso coming down, so your hands can come down, and then you can step. Release the left knee back, left shin, left foot, having a little wiggle around again on the pelvis. And then really having a sense of the kind of fullness and roundness of your pelvis, your shin bones, your tops of feet. You're going to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, taking the whole of the pelvis back in space, as if you were taking it to the wall behind you. I mean, it will go down, but not sort of plonking it down so it's heavy. Keep the hands forward in Hasta Balasana here. Your forehead can rest down towards the mat, keeping the elbows up away from the mat and just freeing into your shoulder blades, noticing your breath. And then staying here, we'll take striking cobra, where we take a breath in, nose almost traces the mat to the hands, at which point you straighten your arms. And exhale, bring the pelvis all the way back, head down. So you inhale, the nose comes all the way towards the hands, straightening the arms. Exhale, coming back. And then maybe one more like that. Otherwise you can take it a little further with me, where you take a breath in, nose comes towards the hands, between the hands, and you kind of scoot the chest and the head up. Feel a lifting through your armpits, and then exhale back from there. And then either resting or taking one of those two options again. Inhaling, coming forward, either stopping, nose at the hands, or keep going towards the front of the mat, and lifting through the armpits, and exhaling all the way back. And then just pausing, resting down towards the earth. Taking a breath in, your head coming up, your hands walking back as you exhale. Hands coming just in front of your knees, coming onto your hands, your knees, your shins, tucking your toes under here, taking a breath in, and then trying to find your feet as your hands come back now. And we'll take Uttanasana. Now as you start to open your knee joints, just be mindful of not pushing your sitting bones or your buttocks up to the ceiling. I mean, I get that they'll go up, but they'll go up as a consequence of you opening your knee joints and letting your feet rest down. Hands on the earth, finding spacious elbows, releasing through your shoulder blades. Gaze up towards your navel centre. Have the knees bent as much as you need to, however, so if it's uncomfortable to straighten your legs, then don't. Keep softening into your sacrum. Okay, let's take a breath in, softening into the knees, the gaze or the torso comes up in space. Hands can go onto your thighs perhaps, and then just lifting the gaze. Again, that kind of sense of cobra coming up through the armpits, and let that bring you up to stand on an inhalation. So you find yourself in Tadasana, mountain pose. Actually going to turn to face you, but you can stay as you are. Just going to come into Vrksasana, the tree. So just finding your left foot, maybe even imagining you've got roots growing out the sole of it, letting it rest down onto the earth. And then taking a breath in, and as you do so, letting the right foot almost float up. See if you can turn the right thigh bone in the right hip joint to take the right knee more so towards the right side of the moon, and the right foot coming into the left inner leg. Hands maybe together in front of the heart, elbows back a tiny bit, and just pausing here with the breath. For those of you that might want to challenge yourself a little bit, the right foot coming away from the right leg, still that deepening of the right thigh bone in the right hip. Seeing if you might take hold of the baby toe side of your right foot with your right hand and just gather your right upper arm back into the shoulder joint. Keep feeding the right thigh into the right hip joint as you open slowly through the right knee without pulling the foot away. And obviously have the knee bent as much as you need to. Okay, and then wherever you are, taking a breath in. And as you breathe out, let's release now the right foot down onto the mat. Let the right foot find the mat. Let it root down as if you had roots growing out the sole of it. Finding your drishti, your focal point. And then let's take a breath in, the left foot almost floating its way up now. Turning the left thigh bone in the left hip joint. Left foot taking a space within the right thigh. Try to avoid the knee joint if you can. Hands together at the heart. Elbows maybe down and back a little bit. Find the roundness of the back of your skull. Notice your breath. So Vrksasana, the tree pose, a very grounding and balancing and calming posture. Staying here, or maybe the left foot coming away from the left leg. Keep deepening the left thigh bone in the left hip. Left hand to baby toe side of left foot. Take the left upper arm bone deep into the left shoulder joint as you slowly open through the knee joint. That's it, lovely. Okay, we'll take a breath in, and wherever you are, as you breathe out, release your left foot down onto the mat. And then we're going to come through a squat to bring ourselves down. So Malasana, having your toes turned out if you need to, or feet can just face forward. And take a breath in, and as you breathe out, think about really deepening into your hip joints with the thigh bones, and just resting the spine almost within the back. Hands could come to the heart possibly, or not, depending on how it feels for you. Noticing your breath. And then we're going to bring ourselves down to sit. You might need to use your hands to support you unless you're quite close to the mat. And then you're just going to release your left leg forward from here. And then if you can, pop your right foot to the outside of your left leg. Depending on how that feels, or depending on how it feels through your left leg, you might turn your left thigh bone out, like we did in tree, but then bend the left knee and just pop the left foot to the outer right hip. But just make sure both your sitting bones are on the mat and your pelvis can rest down towards the earth. And then coming from your belly, take a breath in, or at least take a breath in from the belly. Exhale, turn to your right. Okay, so really moving from the belly. And then your left hand might just go somewhere on your right leg, and your right hand might go behind the back. Not to collapse into, but just to give it a point of sort of a stabilizing point then, I suppose. And you might take the twist into your neck, but just noticing on the belly, or having an awareness on your belly. So being right in your center. Okay, and then you can take a breath in. And as you breathe out, releasing from the twist, coming back to the center, releasing both your legs. Right leg can go forward, left knee can bend, and then just popping the left foot to the outside of the right thigh. And then maybe turning your right thigh out, and then you could bend the right knee and take your right foot to the outer left hip perhaps. Both sitting bones rooting down, pelvis rooting down, finding your center again, taking a breath in. And as you breathe out, turning from your center towards chest left this time. So Ardha Matsyendrasana, your right hand might just rest on your left leg with an awareness of it there, and left hand around the back. Awareness deep in the belly. We'll take a breath in, and breathing out, releasing all the way from the twist, releasing your legs, feet on the mat, shuffling your buttocks a little bit closer, and then hands, forearms coming down can bring you all the way down onto your back. And then maybe just take a breath in and let the feet guide themselves and the legs up towards the ceiling. So both feet going up in the air, just noticing your knees if you can, and just kind of softening at the top of the thighs and below, well, the top of the thighs above the knee and below the knee. And then we're going to bring the feet back down onto the mat, but in such a way, I just want you to imagine you've got a bar behind the back of your knees. So you take a breath in, and as you breathe out, you're almost hooking the back of the knees over that imaginary bar. Which might just take you off the small of your back and more onto your pelvis. And then let your feet rest down through your arms, feel into your elbows and almost dig them a little bit in the mat. And notice your breath, take a full breath in, and as you breathe out, go down from the knees into your feet. So let your feet bring you up, 2-foot support. Breathing here, so it's a lovely heart opener. It's really good for your thyroid glands, but incredibly invaluable for your grounding. So really find the feet, make sure they're not lifted away from the mat. Notice any tension in your toes, any inability to rest the feet down. Not giving yourself a hard time for that, by the way, but just noticing the degree of grounding or lack of grounding. And then we'll take a breath in here, and as you breathe out, popping your pelvis back down onto the mats. And just really feeling into your feet. So there they are. Almost as if you did literally have roots growing out the soles of them. And then bringing your hands to rest on your belly. So really noticing your belly, noticing how it feels there. Just coming back to your center. So maybe we take 3 rounds of abdominal breath. So as you breathe in through the nose, causing your abdomen to rise as you connect with your diaphragm. Exhaling, letting the navel center settle. One more. And then to finish the practice, we're just going to take a few rounds of breath in Supta Padangusthasana. So we're going to inhale the right knee in towards the right shoulder. Your right hand might take hold of the baby toe side of your right foot or your right big toe. The right thigh keeps deepening in the right hip as you take a breath in and breathe out, just to open through the back of your right leg, maybe the back of your left leg. Rest down onto the mat. Just noticing what's happening around that right knee joint. Trying not to lock into the knee joint, so releasing as much as you can through the thigh within the joint itself. A lot of fear will show up through our legs, through the thighs. They can get really tight and overdeveloped. We can hold a lot of fear around our stability, our financial security, and our stability generally. I mean, pride as well will show up in our knees. A lack of flexibility will show up in our ankles. So we'll take a breath in, and as you breathe out, let's release. Pop the right foot down onto the mat. You can inhale your left knee in towards the left shoulder. And maybe your left hand can take hold of the baby toe side of your left foot, or just, you don't have to hold the leg at all if you don't want to. You're going to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, just exploring movement. So left thigh bone deepening in the left hip. And then just exploring how it feels to open through the knee joint, as if you had space within the knee joint itself. And then the back of the right leg might find the earth. So just slowly up through or down through the left thigh and up through the left shin. Noticing how your feet feel as well. It can be indicative of your grounding, whether you can feel them trying to ground, whether you keep falling over at the moment or slipping on your feet. Whether you feel just really in your head, too many thoughts can be an indication that you're ungrounded. So literally lying on the earth is really helpful. I think I might even call it grounding or earthing these days. Or go and hug a tree. We'll come for some Reiki. Okay, so we'll take a breath in, and as you breathe out, bending into your left knee. And let's release the left foot down, and then the left leg can join the right leg, or the right leg and left leg can go flat to the mat. Settling into Shavasana, just taking a little bit of time to rest here. So a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just notice the weight of the body on the earth, and just notice the parts of your body that are not in contact with the earth. And just check that you're not pushing away from the earth. Just relaxing the back of your skull and the shoulders. Let them rest all the way through your rib cage and down through your belly. Whole of pelvis, and all the way down through your right leg and your right foot and your left leg and your left foot. Come back to the shoulders, and again the right shoulder and the right arm and the right hand. And the left shoulder and the left arm and the left hand. And then maybe you carry on resting. Otherwise you might start to bring movement back into the body and just preparing yourself to sit before continuing with your day or your